We are live on a Sunday. You get glasses today because we're live on a Sunday. What's going on, everyone? It is March 22nd. We got Pip, we got Gav. We are back for another 8-game slate. Man, what a day yesterday. Started with Michigan going way over the team total. I think Pip talked about it on the show. We hit the McNeely threes in the last, minute or two of the game, Gav. That was electric. Duke snuffed out TCU. Houston just ass-pounded A&M, which we talked about on the show. We lay the 10.5 there. And then the night games. Our Longhorns, Sweet 16, Texas. Let's fucking go. We talked about it on, Tuesday night? Texas was going to beat BYU and then beat Gonzaga. They did. That game was awesome. Illinois VCU was never really in doubt. Nebraska Vandy. I actually wasn't able to watch a lot of that game, but I saw the finish. We're in Chicago. The Illinois game was on at every bar. So I just want to get your guys' thoughts on yesterday before we get started. Capped it off with Arkansas 94-88. As we thought, Acuff with just a hero second half for Gav. He ended up with 35, 36 real. Gav, just overall thoughts on yesterday before we get into today.
I mean, there's a pretty solid chance Nebraska Vandy is the game of the tournament. That the ending sequence, last couple minutes of that game was just ridiculous. And then Tanner shoots it, and I mean, I've never seen a shot get so close to going in and not go in from half court. I mean, my Apple Watch was like, "You're having a heart incident." I said, "No, God damn it!" The guy almost made a half court shot. So, yeah, it was an insane game, and God, we got a whole nother sheet of them today, and pretty much from here on out to the rest of the tourney.
Pip, you're back with us. What was your main takeaway from yesterday? Any thoughts on the 8 games yesterday?
No, I think so much of it kind of went to what we had said on the show that it kind of just felt like vindication. So I'm excited to be back here today talking about these games. Pumped for you guys to see Texas win. Really good. I think Illinois looks really good. Yeah. And I'm very much excited to see what happens when they play Houston, especially having talked about the matchup versus Houston in the past. So really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, the Texas win was huge. We had that plus 1,200, plus 1,400, depending on where you got it. That's what we were sweating out instead of the Nebraska game. We were watching that Texas game on our laptop at the bar last night. We got 8 games today, and we start off with, I think, a really interesting one. I think everyone just kind of expects Purdue to roll Miami, but I kind of have a different opinion on this. Gav, we'll start with you. Miami 30th at KenPom, Purdue 8th. We get the slow burn again today. With the one game at a time for the first 2. Purdue 80-73 is what KenPom's got it here. I think we're looking at 7.5 on DraftKings right now. What do you think about Miami-Purdue overall?
Yeah, Purdue's a pretty tough schematic matchup for Miami. I mean, they're a team who needs to get out in transition and who needs to get to the rim because they have definite half-court spacing / shooting issues. And one team you don't really want to face is a team like Purdue who has a lot of no-middle concepts that push you away from the rim and who's going to drag the game into, just in half-court execution contests. So from that standpoint, it's pretty easy to lean towards the Purdue side, but the one thing that Miami has over them as well is kind of what's the one thing that, Purdue really has trouble with. It's big wings off the bounce. So someone like a Shelton Henderson, even like a True Washington at his size, I mean, he's significantly bigger than kind of the 3 Purdue guys. So Miami's going to need some individual efforts from those guys in that regard. But, yeah, pretty good one, obviously, to start off the day.
Yeah, Pip, 7.5 seems kind of wide to me. I might end up on Miami here. Any thoughts on the game? And then let's get into the DFS plays for Miami-Purdue.
Yeah, no real game thoughts. I think this is just kind of a weird game, Miami-Purdue, especially with you've got kind of Malik Reneau being a former Big Ten big going against an old Big Ten team. I'm sure there's some box score research to be done there. In terms of DFS, I think that the Miami side is particularly disgusting. I mean, 69.5 total is 3rd lowest on the slate next to Tennessee and Virginia. And Iowa, which those other 3 teams probably not too interested in. So kind of feel the same way about Miami. The only reason that you could maybe justify these prices is because they're a really condensed rotation, like Shelton Henderson playing pretty much the whole game at 6,100 isn't terrible. And I think True Washington's actually pretty good at basketball, and I think they might need him here. So I don't mind that play either. The studs, though, here, like Ernest Udeh at 6.2K, when his props are like 4.5 points, really hard to get excited about.
His points is 4.5.
Yeah, 4.5 with 69 total.
That's the Carson Tout bet.
Yeah, exactly, the Carson Tout bet.
Did we step off that ledge again?
But then on the Renault Donaldson side, we'll get there, but I just think there's so many studs and way better spots on this slate. Now, can you sprinkle them in 100%, especially if you think that Miami's going to cover? I don't know. I'd have to hear your guys' thoughts on, like, do you think Miami covers here by pacing it up or pacing it down?
You can't really pace Purdue up, to be honest.
Yeah. That's good to know.
So, yeah, they just have no desire to run. They have no athletes in transition. Why would they run? Matt Painter's kind of known for having just a Mary Poppins bag sized of sets and plays to go to. So they just reach into the bag, pull out another one, and get ripping. You know, they just don't run.
Yeah, Gav. So for DFS, Braden Smith 9.2, TKR is the same price, and Clough also the same price as what Friday. Do you have a favorite of the three? Are you interested in guys here, or are we passing on this game?
Well, kind of before that, initially you have to realize, like, DraftKings, a lot of times when we have these back-to-back-to-back slates, is not quick enough to change pricing. We see it during MTEs. We see it during conference tourneys. It's happening again here. You know, TKR and Clough both just obviously thrash that little baby Queens team. But this matchup is a whole lot different. Udeh and Renault pose, you know, obviously a physically imposing threat down low. It's a pretty good rim defense from those two. And kind of the other thing that, you know, you mentioned with Miami, they need to run. They need to get to the rim. They have to get on the offensive glass. And the better teams in the Big Ten have beat up Purdue that way. But Clough is playing much, much better. Obviously, he's playing more. It's crazy. Yeah. Matt Painter, you play your two best bigs and just, I mean, magical things happen. Like, so yeah, I mean, it's overall the prices are cheap. The matchup isn't like so bad that you cannot play them. The problem really comes in is, like, in the context of this specific slate, it's going to be tough to get outside kind of a few games, teams, and combinations, just given injuries, usage, minute uptick, stuff like that. So unless, like, some guys are smash plays at their prices in these games, it's going to be tougher to play.
Yeah, I think Clough's the best play. Like him and TKR, I mean, we've seen Clough play 28-plus minutes in basically every big game that he hasn't fouled or hasn't been a blowout. The upside is just there at 6'8" if he's going to play 28-plus pip. Any last thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I would say I'm very high on TKR here. I'm at like 32.4 in my stuff. I think RPS is at 30. I really like him here. I think a very good chance I play him in this spot. I'm also a little bit higher on Clough. The price is a bit tougher. Like, I'm at like 29.5, so it's a bit tougher to get there, but I wouldn't count it out. I think, like, the one interesting narrative on the Purdue side, I don't know if you guys have any takes on this to close it up. I'm also a little bit higher on Lawyer for what it's worth as well. Is kind of this new narrative. I saw Evan Mia tweeted about it sarcastically, but, like, does Braden Smith's play style change after breaking the assist record? And
you can tell that
he gets more aggressive, because, like, if you believe that that's actually a true narrative, which it could be, because we talked about earlier in the season where he gets in certain games and he just is, like, passing off the spot. I feel like in games like this, like we saw him against Michigan in the Big Ten tournament, get hot and just shoot every shot. And if he's probably not going to be too owned in the first spot, if you believe that's what he's going to do here, it's not a bad play, I don't think.
Gav, I know that we got burned with the Braden points in Vegas, but 14.5 here for Braden. Probably going to click on that before that game starts. Let's go to Kentucky, Iowa State. Kentucky 20th at KenPom, Iowa State 7th. 77.70 is what we got on KenPom. But this is one of the first big news spots of the day. That's kind of something that we got to talk about just in general. 3 massive news spots on the slate. This is the first one. Joshua Jefferson was on crutches yesterday. I don't think he's going to play, but it's also Joshua Jefferson. Gav, I wouldn't be shocked if we saw him try to give it a go. We have him out for now. You kind of tell that in the market here. We're seeing 4.5, 5.5 with Iowa State. What are your thoughts on this game here?
I mean, yeah, how does the entire calculus of the Iowa State team change without Jefferson, right? He's a pressure relief valve for Lipsy when, Lipsy's under pressure or Touré's under pressure with the ball in their hands. He's a massive threat at the rim. He's one of the best defenders in the country, rebounds. I mean, he literally does everything for the team. So, yeah, God, I mean, hard to feel good about, Iowa State just in this spot without him.
Yeah.
So, but on the other side is other guys are going to have to step up in roles. I think it really goes one of two directions. Either one, we see more Plita next to Buchanan and Momcilovic if they want to play big against Kentucky, because you can zone Kentucky, and Iowa State is not obviously known for a zone, but it's not that difficult to translate their principles into a more kind of zone-based scheme. So if they want to play big,
a bunch of Heisey here, Gav. I think we see a bunch of
or they play smaller because Kentucky's got a couple guys that can get you off the bounce, and you need a little more defense and mobility in there, and they push Heisey into the lineup and then Momcilovic up to the 4. So I tend to think it's the latter. So yeah, Nate Heisey, all-star. I mean, God, no, he's been pretty good down the backstretch for him. So we'll see.
Yeah, Pip, that's a huge decision point on the slate. We have a couple of these injury spots that are going to open up some value. This is the first one here. My lean, and what I did with the minutes was lean into Heisey. He's the vet. I think that he's someone that's trusted, and he's 3.4. I think we see Heisey start if we don't see Jefferson. But go ahead and talk about this game here. I think we got several good plays, mostly on the Iowa State side.
Yeah, I think I'll just start on the Kentucky side just because it'll be quicker. Pretty not great spot for them. 70.5 total kind of seemed high for me, especially on the heels of the Mark Pope comment saying that TJ Otzelberger could take a pack of random people off the street and they'd be a top 10 defense in the country in a week with his coaching.
That's called coaching, Mark Pope.
Yeah, welcome to the profession, Mark. So I think tough spot for Kentucky. What I will say is I'm not really interested in anyone here except I think Otega is one of the better GPP plays on the entire slate. We just, again, kind of talking like I was talking yesterday, you see these just condensed rotations, condensed usage. His prop right now, it was 23.5 last night when I checked. I woke up, it's down to 22.5. But if you do believe that prop somewhere near close at 8,500, been pretty peripherally involved, can get steals, and he'll be seeing like backup guards on Iowa State. I think I kind of see a path there. You guys got any thoughts on OA here?
After Friday, I don't even know what to think about OA.
It is not a good matchup. He's a guy who needs to who's going to shoot because he's going to create his own shot, and Iowa State's going to send to the ball. They're a no middle defense, so they're going to keep everything away from the rim. They're one of the best defensive near proximity rates in the country, and always got to get to the rim, and he's got to get out in transition, and Iowa State doesn't allow any of that. So yeah, tough individual matchup. I mean,
I kind of like that points under, man.
22.5 is a lot of points.
I'm going to take that actually right now. Matt's got it at 18.27.
Yeah, I don't
mind that at all.
Yeah, that's the first bet on the show is OA under 22.5 points.
While you're doing that, let's talk Iowa State.
I'm still seeing some 23.5 out there, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I was just looking on your favorite underdog. Okay, Iowa State, real quick.
Yeah.
I'm like just below you guys on Lipsy, like about like 31. I don't know. I think what's really hard about this is like if you're making projections, Joshua Jefferson plays all the important minutes of a game. So it's really hard to find important minutes that Joshua Jefferson hasn't played. The Tennessee State game isn't going to tell us anything because they were up 30 from the time he was injured pretty much. So we don't really know what they're going to do here. I'm leaning to take more of a balanced approach to it. So I'm like a little bit lower on Lipsy, like around 31, about 28 on Milan. The one guy I do really like if Jefferson out is Blake Buchanan. I think we'll see ownership go to Lipsy and Momcilovic and the cheap guards, rightfully so. I'm higher on Heisey than Touré, not straight up, but just in like a price adjusted sense. I think that you're probably playing Heisey here at 3.4K. He's just so cheap. And I think that also as I said yesterday, we see seniors kind of get the nods in March, and he's more tenured player.
Yep.
I really like Blake Buchanan here, though. Someone's going to need to pick up the slack on the boards, and I think that Buchanan has a really good chance of doing that. Now, he has to avoid fouls, but what's going for him in that is that Malachi Moreno's out there, another 4.5 points prop, Malachi Moreno. So he's not going to be taking a lot of shots at the rim. So I don't think there's going to be as much of an opportunity for him to get into foul trouble.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I'll say is Adrian Woolley, flop leg play of the day. Jamarian Bateman was pretty chalk 2 days ago on the afternoon slate, like 45%. Didn't do shots. I think we were talking about, he had like 8 in the first half and then just 0 in the second half. Just
minutes were there, though.
Around, against Tennessee State. He is someone that is a great 3-point shooter and can come out hot. And I think that with the shape of this rotation, if he's shooting well, he will stay in the game.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Like a Bateman over Heisey pivot, I think is really interesting. We saw him play low 20s minutes in that first game. Momcilovic is the guy that I think is a really interesting play in this game, Gav. I don't think he's going to come off the court. He was in the game against Tennessee State when they were up by 50, like with all the walk-ons. Like we still had Milan in there. I think we have 36 minutes. I think he plays all 40 here. I think he's really interesting at 6,500. Like Pip was saying, someone's going to have to pick up the rebound slack. He was rebounding more without Jefferson in there. Any thoughts on him? And then any last thoughts on this game overall?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's maybe the best shooter in the country. I think the more I think about it, if this is kind of down into the weeds, but with kind of how driving kick predicated that Iowa State offense is, I wonder what it's like without Jefferson, because now it's going to be a lot of Lipsy. A lot of Lipsy creating for the offense, and he's not really been a guy who's just a break open a defense and like an A cuff. So I think it starts with a lot more in his hands. Now Momcilovic will obviously be the most popular outlet for him, and anytime they can find him. But I also wonder, how much easier it is to really hone in and focus and scout a team that's really like trio centric, that goes down to 2 guys. Look no further than BYU. This is even a more impactful injury. This is like a JT Toppin injury. So that's basically what we're dealing with. Kind of the entire style and calculus of the team really could change, like we saw with Texas Tech.
Yeah, I would not be comfortable laying 5.5 with Iowa State. We just have no idea what they're going to look like. Yeah, they look good against Tennessee State, but that's not a real team. They're playing a real team today. Let's go to maybe the best game that we're going to see all weekend here. St. John's and Kansas, Gavin. 14 at Ken Palm for St. John's, 21 at Ken Palm for Kansas. He's got it 73-71. We get Zuby versus Flory. We got Darren Peterson, who played 37 minutes on Friday, shutting everyone up. Don't hear anyone talking about Mikkel Brown not playing and their team just getting dumpstered. But 37 minutes for DP, Gav. This game is going to be awesome. What do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to hate Bill Self versus Rick Pitino for a chance to go to the Sweet 16. Like, you're not even in the Sweet 16 yet. Yeah, I mean, St. John's looked much better in their first round matchup against kind of an undersized UNI, and Kansas just had problems with Cal Baptist's length on the interior. I mean, Flory had a bad game against Cal Baptist. I mean, he really got eaten up. Almost that entire Kansas offense was just Peterson ball screen or Peterson clear outs. I was shocked when I looked, and his usage that game was only 33%, because when I was watching, it looked like he took every freaking shot. It was incredible. So yeah, this is Peterson. Obviously is the much better matchup here. You don't really worry about St. John's on the perimeter. I mean, those guys are really offensive spacers more than anything. But yeah, now Flory gets like real length on the interior. Outside of Peterson, that offense can surely have its ups and downs with Council and White, and if Flory's going to have a tough matchup here. So I kind of lean St. John's. I mean, I picked St. John's kind of before to advance to the Final Four. So it goes through Kansas right here.
Yeah, Pip, any lean on the game? And then what we have really seen with both of these teams is a really condensed rotation of the starters when games mean something, especially on the St. John's side. I'm pretty aggressive on the minutes here. Got 34 for Zuby, 35 each for Mitchell and Hopkins. Don't think it's the best game environment, but these price tags are definitely playable here.
Yeah, it kind of like in terms of general game takes, it reminds me, Steve, I think you've been banging the drum all year in the Discord talking about how if St. John's would just play all their guys 35 minutes, they would be a top 5 team in the country. And here we are.
Got to see, yeah.
Like, and that's a great thing. And as long as they like avoid foul trouble here, it's definitely a better real life game to me than fantasy game. I was kind of surprised how high the total was. This just kind of feels like a half court, physical, slimy. Like, I don't know how shots are being made here. Kansas is like, other than DP, I feel like every time I watch a Kansas game, it just feels like the ball's never going to go in the basket between Trey White and Melvin Council and Bryson Tiller just throwing up bricks. And St. John's is a very good rebounding team. With all that being said, I think St. John's, I think just the way this slate shapes up, the only person I'm interested in is using Zuby as a get different big, obviously, or high price guy. Obviously, there's the huge narrative going around. Former Kansas player Bill Self says he's not good enough. I think that this is like kind of a get up spot for Flory. Obviously, I don't play the way of like boosting him for that, but I wouldn't blame you for boosting him for that. But I don't think he's a terrible pivot or a way to get different up there because there's paths for him to score like 50 here very easily. Not as high on like the Dylan Mitchell, Bryce Hopkins. I just like the build more with the low 8K guys. With that being said, I think Darren Peterson firmly in play here. Points prop is 23.5 in a 70 total, which is pretty insane. What does St. John's, do you guys think, have to throw at him defensively? Like, is this just a Dylan Mitchell shadow him the whole game?
Dude, we were at Players Era, and Rick Pitino threw Dylan Mitchell on Taman Lipsy 94 feet. I mean, he can. I don't know if he will, but I mean, St. John's is already going to pressure the living hell out of the ball, regardless of who they're rolling out or how they defend it. So,
yeah, and I think with that, like, this could be kind of a situation where, like, I feel like you can either go the Sean Miller route and just say we're just let Devonta shoot a million times and the other guys can't beat us because that's how Kansas' supporting cast is, or I could see Pitino doing the opposite and letting Darren Peterson or shutting down Darren Peterson and just saying if Trey White and Melvin Council want to bang threes all game, we'll let them. So I could see it either way. But again, I'm probably running him at like around like 35, Darren Peterson, like 35 fantasy points, something around there. So you're going to get him at 8,100. I think it kind of depends on how you see St. John's defending him. I think I'm a bit off of him relative to other people because I just think there's other options and I don't want to take the chance. Rick Pitino's a smart coach. But he's playable. And then your flop leg play is Flory. Flory was mega chalk, rightfully so, against Cal Baptist. I don't think really anyone plays him here.
Yeah, I think this is a really good game, Pip. Like if you're playing a bunch of lineups to kind of mix and match these guys in, because I don't feel super strongly about any one play, but I could definitely see Zuby, DP, Flory, Mitchell, Hopkins, like at least one of them having like a 40 plus here. I don't know who it's going to be, but like if I'm playing a bunch of lineups, I'm cycling through these guys, I think. Not like a crazy rule that like you have to have one, but man, if we're getting 35 plus minutes from these guys, Gav, someone's going to go off. Do you have a favorite play before we move on here?
God, if I had to play one play from this game, probably Peterson, then Hopkins.
Yeah. Yep. All right, let's go to another awesome game. Tennessee, Virginia. Tennessee 15th on Ken Palm. Virginia right there at 16th on Ken Palm. He's got it 70-69. Pip, we'll start with you on this one because we should be able to save a little bit of time, at least DFS-wise. Tennessee, Virginia. Do you like anything here?
Yeah, I like crossing out everybody. I don't, except one. Like, your Zach Clemens, Ali Deba play of the day is Dallin Hall. I don't care that he's going to play minutes. He's not going to do anything.
Don't come in the Discord asking us about Ali Deba.
Yeah, please.
Mission accomplished. We got 0 questions about those two guys.
I know. It's also good to know. You just got to put the PSA out there. I mean, the only note on the Virginia side is we saw Jakari White kind of carry them last game. I don't think, like, there's a possibility Odom then runs him a bunch. He's super cheap. I'm not interested in him. I think the under in this game is an interesting play. I just think that this is kind of a nasty, nasty game environment. I really like the Felix Okpara unders, under 8.5 points. I'm at 7.8 on him. And then He was at 7.5 rebounds last night. I like the under on that, 6.1. I just don't see how he's going to be able to score against Grunlow and Onyenso down there. And then we saw Nate Ament.
It's a crowded front court now too.
Exactly. And
they could
if
easily
Nate Ament is
go
full
with
health
more
and smashes in this game, I'm going to be so upset after playing against Miami, Ohio. We didn't get the injury report there.
Yeah.
But he's 8,100, not really good at the sport, it seems like. But then, Jacoby Gillespie against these guards, I think, is a pretty good matchup. Another good GPP play. I think if you're mixing and matching in 150 lineups, the low eights, I definitely want some Jacoby Gillespie here. Kind of similar to the Oweh play. Like, not the greatest spot in the world, but like I see more of a path for Gillespie than Oweh. But he won't be played. I have him around 35 compared to your guys' 32.
Yeah, Gav, game thoughts here. We're going to have a good projection on Estrella here.
Yeah, I mean, really tough pace environment. I mean, neither one of these teams are really in a hurry offensively, and both defenses are elite, denying transition to their opponents. So, yeah, it's a really tough game. Both teams need to get on the glass. Both teams are elite protecting the rim. There's a lot of similarities between these guys in many respects, but one of the main issues is that Virginia has kind of a couple guys really that they can go to any given night to carry. You mentioned Jakari White. I mean, we've seen Sam Lewis do it from time to time. Chance Mallory can get plenty hot. Malik Thomas has carried that offense for points, whereas Tennessee really needs a lot from Gillespie and Nate Ament. And like you said, Nate Ament, I mean, at this stage, like his best tool is getting to the free throw line. It's like the shot tool is rough, the footwork is rough, the dribbling is rough. But if you can get to the free throw line, like that's the best way to do it. Virginia has been handsy at times throughout this year, but it's good now. Basically, Nate Ament, one of the most raw physically freshmen in the country, now plays probably the most physical freshman in the country in 22-year-old Thizda Ritter. So that's a pretty rough draw for him. But I mean, Virginia's going to run drop, so Gillespie's going to have his pick of the litter for the amount of shots he really wants to take and force. And yeah, he dusted the corpse of Miami, Ohio, who finally got to play someone real. And it's just like not even a good team, like it's just Tennessee. I mean, so yeah. I think that's
Gillespie absolutely dusted them in the first half. That was I'm so happy that we're not talking about that fucking awful Miami.
They earned their way in, beating SMU. Then you had to play a real P5 team, not even a good one. And you just get absolutely shit slammed.
Yeah.
One more thing on this. I think Bishop Boswell, chalk last slate too, super cheap, still super cheap.
Fouled.
Someone that kind of gets there in ugly games, I think, gets there on rebounds, not a big scorer, never been a big scorer, so I'm not really as worried about the total. I think he could actually be like the Adrian Woolley, seemingly in a worse spot, but actually not in a bad spot for him personally at a low price.
That's a good shout for sure.
Yeah, off of back-to-back foul games too. Like we have
that's what I was going to say as well.
When everybody is going to be playing the value of Iowa State.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was a stone lock on Friday. I think. I know that you didn't, Pip, but
he can get there on 0 real points.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I mean, it's basically the same play with a slightly lower total, but you're not playing him because he's scoring points, right? You're playing him for all the peripherals and the stocks. So,
you guys think Tennessee survivor pick today?
God, I hope.
No. I guess we'll get there. We don't have to cover it now.
Yeah, no. I'm going a different way in Survivor because we have some contrarian takes later in the slate. Okay. And let's get to it. Let's go to the next game. Iowa, Florida. Gav, we'll start with you. Florida 77-70 on KenPom here. Iowa, I mean, the worst game maybe I've ever seen, the Iowa-Clemson game.
How dare you? How dare you?
Just god-awful. And then the Florida Prairie View, I know that we've talked about this. We're at the bar, and the guys next to us keep live betting Prairie View plus points. And I'm like doing the exact opposite, just plugging Florida minus $1 billion. 114.55 was the final there. I think the one that we gave out in the Discord, Gav, was Florida minus 29 live. I mean, that was never in doubt. Much different matchup here, though. What do we got? Florida, Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's any secret by this point. I mean, Iowa has Bennett Sturts and a bunch of non-P5 players, like, frankly speaking. So not only from a talent perspective, but from a size perspective as well. I mean, this is a small team that got just battered on the glass and on the interior in a very physical Big 12. And now you have a Big 12 or Big 12, Big 10, Big 10-esque looking Florida team who's kind of running out that triple big is really bad news for Iowa. I mean, Florida should be able to have, imagine like Ruben Chinyelu, like Cam Manyao down there. I mean, it could get pretty ugly on the glass. But I mean, we know what we're going to get from Ben McCollum. I mean, you can't run on Iowa, which is kind of one of the things that Florida looks to do, get out in transition. Iowa's going to heat up the ball a lot with, Boogie Flan and Xavier Lee have had their fair share of turnover games from time to time. I mean, they've been a little bit better holding on to it in SEC play, but there's also a ton of just very passive drop coverages that don't pressure you in the SEC like anything like Iowa will. So it's a decent spot for Florida, I would say, if they can just McCollum's going to turn it into a 3-point contest basically, because he knows that's where you got to beat Florida. And I think so it's going to be Iowa trading threes for Florida's twos.
Yeah, I just pulled it up, Pip. It's 10.5 right now. I think that's a bit wide for me to take. I was hoping that Florida would be right around KenPom at the 7. In a game environment like this, I'm not super comfortable laying 10.5. It's probably a live bet game for me. Do you have any stance on the game? And then I assume that DFS will be pretty quick because Iowa's involved.
Yeah, this game kind of reminds me of like the Clemson Duke games this year, where you've got Clemson as like a 8 to 10 point underdog, and you're a really smart coach in Brad Brownell. And what does he do in those games? Shrinks possession count. And I think that's just kind of what Gav alluded to of like Ben McCollum's really sharp. He knows how to like win the math game here, and the math game here is to play as little possessions as possible. For that reason, I think I've got these as like two of the lowest field goal attempts on the game, 54 for Iowa and 56 for Florida. And then I think the other thing, Florida's a team we usually see from a projection standpoint to be around 40 rebounds. I run like 34 in this spot. So I think that just kind of saps a lot of DFS upside. The only angles I can see here is if you think that Iowa's going to play big with them. We've been talking about Fulgiris getting bigger minutes in games where it matches up better. I could see them playing him 28 plus here, although not the best matchup. But I guess that's like the one Iowa thing I could say.
Yeah.
And then on the Florida side, I don't know. They're all just too expensive for me. I'd way rather take shots on the other, like in terms of I'm not playing 7K Xavier Lee. I'm not playing 5.8K Boogie Fland. So that kind of gets you Chinyelu, Hawk, and Condon. And I would just rather play other guys. So yeah, maybe 1 or 2 in a 150 set, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's going to win this game. I think we just wait and play them next week in a better matchup. Gav, any DFS thoughts here? I mean, this is a full pass game for me, DFS-wise. I kind of like the under, 145.5.
Yeah, I do too. I thought the same thing. Because if you think they're going to take 112 shots combined, I don't know. That's going to be pretty insane efficiency you need to get there.
I think Iowa just completely takes the air out of the ball in this game, or at least tries to, Gav. What do you think?
Yeah. I wouldn't mind, it's not a great matchup, but Boogie Fland's 5.8K and he's going to play basically the whole game, with some upside. So if you want to mix him in 150, I probably would take just the Chinyelu discount to the other two, but yeah, not a great environment. What about like you mentioned Fulgaris? We don't have the certainty that we had minutes wise with Avila yesterday, but is there any Fulgaris 3-point props? Because I got a feeling that he's going to be deployed to at least bring one of those bigs out away from the rim.
DK does not have Fulgaris threes. They got Sturts.
He's 8.5 points. I see. No threes.
Yeah, the only had 3-point prop was that fucking Texas A&M team yesterday.
Yeah, I'm at 9.3 points for what it's worth on him.
Yeah. All right, let's move on then. Let's go to the next game here. Utah State, the Fighting Virgins against Arizona. The road ends here for Utah State, Gav. Really fun team. They're good to us on Friday. They were good to us last week. Man, tough draw for Utah State. Carson Busey up against Arizona. What do you think? Utah State, Arizona. He's got an 84-72.
Yeah, I mean, both these teams want to try to get out and run in transition, and both teams want to get to the rim. Both are in the top 15-ish of near proximity rate, but one of these teams has a 7'2" Lithuanian mountain guarding the paint, and the other has a bastard child of Gary Busey. So, yeah, I mean, Arizona obviously has a massive advantage in this, especially with the way that Utah State wants to play. Now, Utah State's matchup zone defensively also leaves them pretty susceptible on the defensive glass, which is not generally a place you want to find yourself against this Arizona team. So, yeah, really, really bad stylistic matchup. I think. What's the line on this?
So this is the big number that I kind of want to lay. It's 11.
I think Arizona blasts them.
Yeah, I do too. I think this is like 20 plus. This is the big number that I'm not afraid to lay on this slate today. I mean, I think it's the biggest number of the day. Yeah. But I'm with you, Gav. I think this is a belt ass game for Arizona.
This is the Houston A&M game all over again.
Yeah, Utah State's implied team total is like 72. I don't know how they score 72 on Arizona.
That's a good look too. Well,
they could score 72 if Arizona scores 100.
Yeah, Arizona's just gonna pound this team. Pip, that means that we're gonna see some DFS points in this game. Arizona, when I looked last night and pulling it up now, the prices hadn't really moved in this matchup here. I think we're gonna have to be interested in some Arizona guys.
Yeah, I guess I'll just start on the Utah State side because it'll be quicker. The only guy here that like I'm a few points higher on Drake Allen. I mean, you're probably not going to play him, but that's just worth noting. I'm at like 26.54.
Elamine on the afternoon slate on Friday.
The only other guy in Utah State that's actually in play is Adlin Elamine. He is a fouler, but I think he's a legit NBA talent. And if there's anyone that's going to be able to hang in this game environment, it's probably him. He's 4.1K. I think you could do a lot worse. He's an interesting pivot off the Iowa State guys. And I mean, if they do score 72, there's some paths here for him to score 20 and get there. But again, not a core play. I think I'm getting about 12% in my top 50 optimals for him. Arizona side, I don't know. We're kind of like back to early season Arizona where it's fairly spread. And I do kind of fear blowout here where like they will happily keep the minute spread. So you're going to need some efficiency. I really like Tobe Awaka over 8.5 points here. I'm at 9.9. I just think that Carson Templin's such a fouler. They don't really have any Carson Busey, sorry. I just don't think they really have anybody to hold his frame down there. But yeah, I wish I had something like a solid take here. I think if I had to pick one to play outside of Krivas, it would be Koa Pete. I think that, again, NBA talent, I don't think anyone's going to play him. I think that's the one guy I'd take a shot on outside of Krivas. But I don't think I'm going to play any of these guys on a main, more kind of GPP. I'd probably just like keep my ownership pretty spread on them, or exposure, I should say, outside of like a small bump to Pete and then Krivas and then Awaka after that, I'd say.
Yeah, Gav, I think I'm showing up with Krivas today at 5,900 in this matchup. We've seen him be pushed to high 20s minutes. And if he plays 27, 29 minutes, he is going to destroy Utah State. I think he's pretty clearly the best play in the game. Elamine, I think, is playable here. I think on a different slate, Gav, where we didn't have these news spots, I think he would be very in play, despite the bad matchup. He's 4,100. I think he's all right. Thoughts on those two? And then anything else in this game? Burry's at 7,200. I think it's pretty interesting as well.
Yeah, I mean, Elamine's a player. Pip said it. He's going to start getting some real draft buzz. That's like the second highest rated recruit in Utah State history. I mean, he is long and he is quite skilled for someone at his age, at that size. So, yeah, I think you're exactly right, though. Different slate. He'd be much more interesting. You're definitely ceding minutes to, the Iowa State guys. So, he definitely can rate out better on a per minute basis than those guys. But I mean, you could be giving up like 10 plus minutes, in that case, it's tough to tell based on what Iowa State does. But yeah, I mean, this Krivas price is so dumb. I thought it was a questionable play when they were playing LIU in a blowout, just given he basically had a cap of 20 to 22 minutes whenever Zona would blow him out. But if he's going to get pushed anywhere near full minutes, I like Arizona. I don't know if we see such a blowout where these starters are missing more than last minute, 2 minutes of the game, 3 minutes maybe. But I still think it is belt to ass spot.
Yeah, same. All right, we got 2 games left, I think. Yep, we got 2 games left. The next one that we're going to talk about is the biggest news spot, of the season. UCLA and UConn. Pip, we'll start with you again. UCLA 26th, Ken Palm, UConn 10th. He's got it 72-68, so lower scoring game here. Bunch of things to talk about. We got the Demery injury. We got the Bilodeau injury. We got Terrace Reed in a game where they finally get pushed, put up, 35 and 27. I was at dinner for that game, just watching his score go up. We were here on Tuesday. I picked UCLA to win this game. I still think that they win this game. We don't know on either guy. We haven't projected out for now. I think we have to approach this game 2 different ways, right? Like let's talk about the guys are out and then the guys are in. Pip.
Yeah, I think that, the hard part about this game is just the way the slate sets up in terms of start times. I kind of see this as like a barbell slate where I want to play guys in the Purdue game. I want to play guys in on the Iowa State side. Then you kind of have this gap from the St. John's game up until this game of not too interested in the St. John's game. Same with Tennessee, Iowa, Utah State, Arizona. There's maybe 1 or 2 plays there at most. So for me, but then after that, we've got the best game of the slate that we'll get to is Texas Tech, Bama. So if they are in, you kind of have the ability to swap. So I would be really cognizant over how you're building. Now, I think Steve and I disagree. I think that Demery's going to go. I think I'm less certain Bilodeau's going to go, but I don't think Bilodeau going really affects the DFS side too much. It's a terrible total. I think it's a terrible game environment. And I'm kind of happy to, if I think that a lot of people are showing up with them because everyone expects them out, I'm kind of partial to just running guys early and playing, say, a Trey Kaufman-Renn early that no one else plays because they think that the UCLA guys are out and they've got Booker and players like that. So that's kind of my stance on it personally. Interested to hear what you guys have to say. Regardless of that, I'm showing up with Terrace Reed. I don't know. I think that this is their path to victory. 11.5 rebounds. Can I interest anybody in an over? Just had 20-something. I don't know.
We've got him for 34 minutes here. He played, 36, 37?
Yeah,
if Terrace Reed plays 34 minutes, Gavin, he's getting 12 rebounds in this game. We're going to see plenty of misses. So just real quick, my thoughts before you go, Gav, on the injuries. As we get closer, I lean more and more that they try and go. I think Bilodeau was pretty close on Friday. It felt like Demery, there's been some good tweets from his family and stuff. We have him out right now.
He tweeted yesterday too.
The good thing is, if you go in with one of those 2 spots, right? So if Demery's out, you're playing Malachi Smith, obviously. If Bilodeau's out, you can play Booker. I think there's a decent chance that one of them doesn't go. And even if not, we're going to have enough PMR to kind of move around, right? Because of how good the last game is. My current plan is to go in with that spot kind of open, Pip, and then, kind of move around. I know that you're not doing that, but I think it's reasonable to have that spot open, and then we're going to have enough PMR to kind of move around if you need to. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. Gav, let's go to you. Game thoughts overall. I think UCLA wins this game outright, man. I'm high on them for 2 weeks. I don't see any reason to change. Demery is at best banged up here.
Yeah, UCLA is the second best offense in the country ever since Sky Clark re-entered the starting lineup. UConn's going to hard hedge, which I was going to put Terrace in foul trouble, or at least in a spot where he could easily pick up fouls and dumb fouls at that, like he's been known to. But yes, if he plays, he will very likely smash. UCLA is one of the smaller P5 teams. They have a lot of no middle principles, so you don't really need a ton of size protecting the rim since you push teams away from the rim. Hard hedge, screens, double in the post. So yeah, I just trust the UCLA offense way more at this stage than I do UConn. UConn obviously has the higher offensive ceiling, but one, if UCLA is going to pressure up the line, and if Demery is either not playing or less than 100%, that's certainly less than ideal. If Demery's out, I think things really start to get hairy. UConn's not even a heavy ball screen team. They did a little bit more with Malachi Smith because that's the best way to kind of get him going as a guy who can't create his own advantages.
Yeah.
But UCLA is going to make that much tougher. And kind of almost like the Caden Boozer situation where he played a couple nice, easy drop defenses. And then we said kind of worry about this TCU matchup, at least from a scoring perspective. But UCLA's got a couple guys to, toss to on the perimeter. So having a couple ball handlers, I think, really negates some of that, defense. And that's kind of been the side that's carrying them all year. The UConn side is the defense, which is just wild to think about. I don't even know how that makes any damn sense, but yeah, that's basically where we're at.
Yeah, this is the Texas spot for me from yesterday. This is a UCLA plus 4.5, UCLA money line plus 170. I cannot believe that it's 4.5. I think UCLA should be like a pick 'em in this game, honestly.
Okay, whoa, settle down.
UCLA is going to win this game outright. So that's I mean,
if you want to say 2.5. I mean, that's UCLA's playing like a top 20 team.
UConn without Demery should not be a 4.5 point favorite over UCLA. UCLA is the better team right now, just kind of straight up. So I feel very strongly about UCLA in this game. Yeah, I mean, a bunch of good DFS plays. We're about to go to the last game here, but just kind of general thoughts is if you have that spot and you need to move, I think it's going to be fine because we're about to talk about a bunch of good plays here in the last game. Texas Tech, Bama, the Lotion game of the slate of the weekend. Ken Palm's got a Bama 86-85. Bunch of things to talk about here. Gav, we'll start with you. I put it out on Twitter. I think that Bama without Aiden might be better because they're bigger. You get more Phylon minutes. You get more Amari Allen minutes. They're going to be better defensively without his just complete zero on defense. This game's going to be awesome. Do you have any overall takes on Texas Tech Bama?
Yeah, I think the main thing is, Texas Tech without JT Toppin. I mean, they were never really a push tempo team, just given how shorthanded they were, especially at the start of the season before Bam Goy and Mosley came back around. Now they're like 350th in tempo since Toppin went out. So Hofstra was happy to push Bama, but it's almost like the same situation schematically. Texas Tech is a similar drop coverage defense with an elite drop coverage operator offensively, and Christian Anderson and LeBaron Phylon. And yeah, I can buy that a little bit. I mean, Bama's huge issue is defense, and when you don't have a guy who's not tall enough to ride the Matterhorn out there, in Aiden Holloway, then yeah, you inherently become bigger, more physical defense, and Bama's already a team that doesn't press you on that side of the ball. So they need to look more like Kansas, who has elite defensive metrics without crazy turnover percentages just because of the difficult shots they make you take. So yeah, a lot of this probably comes down to the 3-point shooting. There's just going to be a barrage of 3-pointers. And yeah, I think a lot of it also comes down to, is Bama really able to execute a little more in the half court? Because Texas Tech is pretty good at limiting transition opportunities. They can't let teams run because they're just so shorthanded, basically. So they've been pretty good in that regard. Can Bama execute enough in the half court? Bama is much more of a shrink three. So they look for a paint touch to hit step-in threes on the perimeter, whereas Texas Tech is really more just a set creation for good quality 3-point looks, whereas Bama is just going to ball screen. So, yeah, I could see where Mosley kind of has a similar role this game that he did last game because he's a much more mobile big than Bamboy. And, yeah, I think that's basically what I got for the notes on this one. So, yeah, I mean, ton of 3-pointers, 2 great offenses, 2 suspect defenses in the hammer.
Yeah, Mosley was really good on Friday. I think they kind of leaned into that. I don't have a huge take on that, Pip. I think on a different slate, we'd be playing more of him. I think that he's a guy that you might be interested in. I think if you're playing a bunch of lineups, I think he's interesting. But man, above him, we've got so many good plays. They didn't move the price on Petty.
Yeah.
They didn't move the price on Atwell. They didn't move the price on 32-minute Amari Allen, who got super unlucky to not just absolutely death smash on Friday. Put up, 23 DK in the second half. I'm playing 7,300 Amari Allen in a 165 total, playing 32 minutes. What are your thoughts here? Like, there's a lot of plays.
Yeah, I mean, I think general game thought is I would just never bet against Grant McCaslin. I don't know. I'm a fan. I mean, and haven't we seen line movement? I think Alabama was a favorite to open, and now Texas Tech's a favorite, which is interesting. I'm always going to be partial to the Texas Tech guys. Bama side, I don't have any notes on them. I think that Phylon's a bit over-projected. I'm around like 40, 43, but what I will be saying is that like Captain's projections have been really good, and I feel like when he's been kind of like higher on a guy, they've done really well. Kind of reminds me of like the Vasar play on the first day where you guys were way ahead, and I'm thinking you're the same on Phylon. And we waited all year for a full Phylon role. He's been playing like 28 to 32, and now he's playing 36. So there's upside there, and I don't think Christian Anderson can guard anybody anyway. I'm having a tough time figuring out the Amari Allen projection. Like, I think he's so good at basketball, and the projections wouldn't bear out playing him, but now playing him really messes with my head. So I think he's a GPP play. I don't think I'll have him on a main, but I wouldn't fault you for playing. The one interesting play here, and the one like if you're down swap I really, really like, is if you show up with Josiah Mosley and the day starts poorly. I think the Taylor Bull Bowen is the same price, has been playing really well. I don't know how much Nate Oates is into plus minus, but last game against Hofstra, London Jemison was plus minus was 3. His backup, Taylor Bull Bowen, 15. And I think that, Steve, you kind of tweeted it too, that they're just so much better with him out there. He's only getting healthier. He was playing 25 to 28 minutes earlier in the year. Before these last 2 games, he was kind of like 14 to 17. I know, Steve, you've probably conservatively put him at 21 because if you go higher than that, he's going to start popping.
Yeah.
So he's someone that's not going to be popping in the optimizer right now. I'm also ahead on the FPPM here. I've got him around like 0.77 compared to your guys' 0.67. So I think that if you're down, it's a great 1-for-1 swap. Great spot. Could be bang. You guys said ton of threes here. If you think they shoot a ton of threes, why not have the stretch big out there to shoot threes? So I kind of like him on the Bama side. Texas Tech side, go crazy. A question I want to hear the answer from both of you guys is how many Texas Tech is too many Texas Tech? Like, I'm getting 4 in some runs. I think that we're right back to the well on Donovan Atwell. Right back to the well. Again, if you think there's threes, who better than like the best 3-point shooter in the country outside of Momcilovic? Christian Anderson, core play for me. Watts fouled last game. Interested to see what his actual minute ceiling is here. At 5,800, pretty good real life player too. Petty's going to play the whole game. I'm a bit lower on Petty than you guys. I'm around like 26, but I'm still getting him a lot at 26 minutes.
Yeah.
And then Mosley at like 19.2 compared to your guys' 20. So I'm getting like 3 to 4 or 2 to 4, I should say, in a lot of builds. I wouldn't fault you for playing 4. And I also wouldn't fault you for coming with 4 with the possibility there's UConn UCLA news. And I'm totally fine even having to play 4 if the guys are in. So I think kind of loaded up. I'd say that Atwell is probably like going to be the lowest owned, and I think the most fun play here because I think they're going to really, really need him.
Yeah, so Atwell was the popular play on Friday, Gav, and Petty was the low owned guy. Even though we had Petty higher than Atwell, Petty smashed. Atwell was fine. Any favorites in this game? I mean, there's just so many good plays. The price tags didn't move. We got a huge total. What do you think? You're on mute.
Goddamn, almost threw my back out when you said that. No, I mean, what are people going to do with Christian Anderson versus Phylon? Because my gut the projection says Christian Anderson, but my gut tells me that people run cheap Texas Tech and then run back Phylon.
I want both. I want both these guys. 36-minute Phylon just has, I mean, he could put up 60 DK in this game.
I mean, if you play both guys and this game goes to overtime, you are twirling your junk so fast you may take off like a helicopter. So I guess, yeah, you could just stack this game and play both dudes. I tend to think more people will play Phylon and then play like a one of the Atwells or Petties or Mosley. So
Yeah.
I mean, you could easily show up with Anderson, Phylon, Mosley, Bull Bowen, and like a Petty, and you gotta have 5 pieces from that game easily. And there's no issues with that. So I don't really know what the answer to how many is too much. Like last night I played 4 Arkansas, highest team total on the slate, condensed lineup.
Other bad games.
Other bad games. Like you just see. Here's the thing: like these teams like Arizona, these the Texas A&M. So obviously we don't need to get down that rabbit hole, but those teams, to get your plays right, you have to guess that the team does well, 1, 2, and then it's a second decision point of who actually does well when that happens. When you have these teams that there's like 4 dudes who even shoot the ball, I mean, you know where their production is going. It's not even an exercise of I have to really do the guessing game, which is why I tend to overplay these teams. So yeah, I wouldn't mind for Texas Tech at all. I think probably like 2 threes where I generally want to end up. But yeah, no issue with 4.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're wrong, you're still getting the minutes, right? Like you're going to get 38 plus from all these guys. I was looking at our guy Turtle over at ETR has got Phylon at 15% and CA at 26. So both guys own, but Anderson projects so well. People are going to use his stuff as they should. I think CA is going to be higher owned than Phylon by a good bit.
That's kind of because we'll think about this. The first day we had stars and scrubs, right? We had all the value in the world, and then the last 2 days have kind of been more balanced.
We got
now all the value in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of thinking about the stack more and more.
He's got Bryce, he's got Bryce Hopkins as the 4th highest owned player on the slate.
Please.
Ooh,
sub 7K.
I hard disagree with that.
Do you what do you guys think of that Bama total? I think what shocked me at first look at this game was I couldn't tell you. I bet this is the lowest Bama team total in a game where their opponent's projected for 83 plus. Like to see them at 82 and the other team at 83, I feel like the whole year in SEC play, it's been them at like 90 and their opponent at like 93. And that's what threw me off of like, is the total light here? Like, I don't.
Well, the issue,
that's what I was saying.
The issue is what Gavin was saying. Go ahead. With the
Texas Tech has slowed to a crawl without Toppin. I mean, again, further shorthanded, like without one of their dudes.
Okay,
I'll pull the stat, but I'm pretty sure they're like 346 in adjusted tempo since Toppin went out. That's
what was possession count in the Akron game.
I see them getting drawn into a track meet here, though, for sure.
Because the Akron game was pretty fast. They also were giga efficient.
65.
65.
Yeah, so their last 5 games, 61, 65, 64, 61, 65, 65.
There you go.
I guess I just don't see the mega efficiency dying against Bama, but I think that is the bear case to the 3+ Texas Tech, is that if it's a crawl and they're just not hitting threes, they're going to score like 72 and you're going to be dead with 4.
Yeah, I really think that Bama just draws them into a track meet here.
348th in tempo since Toppin went down. There you go.
Yeah. I certainly wouldn't be taking an under in this game. I know that.
I'll say this, last thing I'll say, like I think on any other slate, if there was better games, the only guy that would be really chalky is Christian Anderson. Like I guess it depends what you think of the Jalen Petty projection, but I don't think I'd be playing Jalen Petty on a different slate. And I kind of Atwell maybe, but other than that, I don't know.
I mean, Gavin played both Adwell and Petty on Friday. He's definitely playing them again in this game. All right. Wow, it's 10:05. Let's zoom out. Let's start with you, Pip. Overall, just full day thoughts, game-wise first, and then DFS stuff. Just zooming out.
Yeah, I think super pumped for the games in general. I think pretty in line, Steve, with your takes and Gav, your takes. Like I really like UCLA today. I like St. John's to win today. I like Tennessee. I want to hear your guys' survivor pick before you go out. I'm leaning Tennessee, but I could see Texas Tech. Those are the 2 I'm contemplating. So interested to hear your guys' take. On the DFS side, I think it's just it's kind of similar to yesterday where you're like mixing and matching these low eights, like low eights up to Anderson and Phylon, and then deciding who you want to lock early. Like everything of your strategy today should be dependent on what you think of this injury news. My take on how I'm playing the slate is I'm willing to play players early and burn PMR because I think that they go based on Demery was good to go before the Furman game. They said doesn't shock me. He sat against a 15 seed. Bilodeau was warming up. Even if Bilodeau plays, I don't want Xavier Booker against UConn and Terrace Reed because we know Mick Cronin's volatile, and I think that Terrace smashes here. And I think it's the same thing. Like I'm going to probably just show up with Terrace late game PMR. If my team's not doing well, I'll probably swap from Terrace up to like a Phylon and move down elsewhere to like a Bull Bowen just to be different and hope Alabama wins outright with 90. So that's kind of my general take. And then I guess like play of the day, I'm gonna go Blake Buchanan. I think that, and that's assuming Jefferson's out. Really like Blake Buchanan. I think he's going to be the lowest owned of Heisey, Momcilovic, and Lipsy, which makes sense from a projection perspective. I'm just higher on him. I think we see like 8+ boards here, and maybe like 10 points. And he also has big stock upside. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Really, really excited.
Yeah, let's go to you. We talked about a couple bets. We didn't. What is your final thought? Are we laying the 3.5 with St. John's, or are we going to wait and tie that to something?
I'm not in any rush to bet it. We'll see what happens.
Get in the Discord if you want that bet. What are your thoughts? Just kind of zooming out on the day and then DFS
and Survivor.
Oh, and Survivor.
Yeah.
I'm burning Purdue.
I am burning Purdue. I don't want to use them later, so I'm just burning Purdue today. Overall slate thoughts. God, I fucking suck at these, dude. Like,
you're so good at the zooming in, but the zooming out.
Yeah.
Well, just like the whole day. It's a slow burn. We have a couple bets early. Man, this slate is awesome. At 4:15 Central, Pip, I mean, you've got to be in front of multiple TVs.
To say the least. And they're all close spreads.
Yeah.
Like finally, like yesterday, I felt like it was a lot of like 6 to 10 spreads, and today it's just beautiful.
I don't know. I got nothing to add. The tank is on E right now, brother. If there was one more day of this shit in a row, I don't know if I'd wake up tomorrow. Like I'm running out of space dust. I'm running out of energy. These contests are making me run out of hairline. So it's just bad all around.
Yeah, you got to Postmate some more space dust today for sure.
Oh, that guy was a hero last night. Hero. Just while those games are just rattling off one after another, and I just got the Postmates guy walking up to my door to bring me a bunch of beer. What a dude.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So the games will be awesome. We'll be firing more bets in the chat. If you're not a member already, you've missed so many winners. Get in the chat. So we'll be there. The news is huge today. Make sure to be plugged in on the news. Our current projections have all those guys out. I'm kind of with Pip. I think the guys in the UConn game play. I think Jefferson's going to be out. I think Demery and Bilodeau probably go, but I don't want to project them in yet. So we'll see. Long day. Take it game by game. That worked for us yesterday. We'll be back next week for possibly some Sweet 16 shows. Definitely a show on Saturday. But yeah, for Gav, for Pip, enjoy the games. Let's make some money.